In the name of God, the compassionate and merciful, Madam President, first allow me to extend our gratitude to you for convening this crucial meeting in response to our request. We sincerely thank our colleagues from Algeria, China, and Russia for their steadfast support in calling for this meeting. We extend our gratitude to those members who have condemned Israeli aggression and expressed their sympathy and solidarity with the people and government of Iran. We have carefully considered the views expressed by ASG Mr. Khaled Khiari. Madam President, distinguished member of the Council, this meeting is both timely and necessary to address Israeli act of aggression against the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Islamic Republic of Iran, an egregious and severe violation of international law and the United Nations Charter. As outlined in the letter from our foreign ministers to the President of the Council and the Secretary General, the criminal regime of Israel has flagrantly violated international law and the UN Charter by committing a deliberate act of aggression against sovereignty and territorial integrity of Iran. In the early hours of Saturday, 26 October, Israeli military aircraft launched long-range air-launched missile from approximately 100 kilometers outside Iran border, using airspace provided by U.S. military forces stationed in Iraq. These missiles targeted several Iran's border defense radar in the provinces of Elam, Khuzestan, and Tehran, and military sites as well. Iran's air defenses acted promptly, intercepting most of the missiles and thereby preventing substantial damage. Yet, tragically, 4 Iranian military officers, along with a civilian, were martyred while heroically defending their homeland. At the same time as Israeli aggression, 10 Iranian police officers were tragically martyred by Jaish al-Adl, a foreign-backed terrorist group in Sistan and Baluchistan province. Madam President, Israeli aggression against Iran is obvious and does not occur in isolation. This aggressive attack is part of a broader, sustained pattern of aggression and unchecked impunity with which Israel continues to destabilize the entire region, most notably through its ongoing aggression, ethnic cleansing, and war crimes against the Palestinian and Lebanese people. We condemn Israeli aggression in the strongest possible terms. Israel's hostile actions are a blatant and dangerous breach of international law and the UN Charter, particularly the principle of sovereignty and territorial integrity and prohibition on threats or the use of force against the sovereignty of states. These principles are not merely abstract ideals, they are foundational pillars upon which the international peace and stability rely. Regrettably, unwavering and unconditional support provided by the United States to Israel, coupled with its obstruction of the Security Council mandate as a permanent member, has emboldened Israel to persist in its crimes and aggression in Gaza and Lebanon, and now against Iran, gravely undermining regional peace and security. Madam President, distinguished member of the Council, the UN Charter obligates the Council to determine any threat to the peace, breach of the peace, or act of aggression, and to take decisive measures to restore international peace and security. Under Chapter 7, the Council has the authority and the duty to respond robustly to the threats to global peace and act of aggression. This responsibility requires more than words or recommendation. It demands firm and resolute action. Israeli persistent and systematic violation of international law, its aggression against Iran, and its ongoing crime in Palestine and Lebanon, as well as in Syria and Yemen, pose direct threats to international peace and security, and it demands unequivocal condemnation and decisive action from the Council. Ignoring these violations are actively undermining the Council's credibility and commitment to uphold the core principles of the UN Charter. Madam President, despite Israeli flagrant violation today, we again witnessed the glaring double standard exhibited by certain members of the Security Council, including the United States. These states have failed to condemn Israeli illegal action that stand in direct violation of the UN Charter and international law. Instead, they justify Israel violation and atrocities, calling them self-defense. Whether these acts occur against Iran or against the people of Palestine and Lebanon, who are suffering under Israeli systematic violence and oppressions. Their selective invocation of international law undermines the value of the United Nations as a whole. Adding to this audacity, these countries shamelessly ask Iran to restrain itself and ignore its rights to self-defense. This demand starkly contrasts with their earlier refusal to call on Israel to refrain from its aggression against Iran for the sake of regional peace and security. Their double standards are clear to the international community. Their supposed concerns for peace and stability are empty words when, for over a year, they have given Israel full political, financial, logistical, and weaponry support, enabling its continued atrocities, genocidal acts, and war crimes on Palestine, and now on the people of Lebanon. Madam President, the international community cannot and must not remain silent in the face of such violation. The price of this silence is evident in Palestine and Lebanon, where Israel's impunity perpetuates a vicious cycle of violence and instability across the region. We call upon the Council to condemn Israeli actions unequivocally and to hold it accountable for its systematic and recurrent violations of the international law, as well as for what it truly is, a calculated and sustained campaign of aggression and atrocious crime that not only destabilizes the region but also seriously threatening global security. The people of Iran, Palestine, and Lebanon are indeed the entire international community look to this council to uphold justice, safeguard the principle of the United Nations, and ensure that the rule of law prevails. We call on all nations, especially those in our region, to recognize their individual and collective responsibilities in safeguarding regional peace and stability. We extend our gratitude to the peace-loving countries, both in the region and beyond, that have condemned Israeli aggression, understanding the gravity of these actions and the threats they pose to all. The responsibility for this dangerous escalation lies squarely with the Israeli regime and certainly with those who enable it, foremost among them the United States, which remain Israeli primary and unwavering supporter in committing these grave atrocities and also paralyze this august body to fulfill the primary responsibilities. The United States' involvement in Israeli aggression through its provision of technical expertise and advanced military system to Israel has further instigated and emboldened Israel to conduct its aggressive attack against Iran. Therefore, the US government is complicit in Israeli aggression and will bear its consequences. Furthermore, the United States has already been complicit in the ongoing war crimes and genocidal campaign targeting civilian and civilian infrastructure both in Gaza and Lebanon. The vast majority of bombs Israeli drops on Gaza and Lebanon are US-made. In conclusion, Madam President, the Islamic Republic of Iran has consistently championed diplomacy as the pathway to addressing regional challenges and fostering peace and stability. However, as a sovereign state, the Islamic Republic of Iran reserves its inherent right to respond at the time of its choosing to this act of aggression, a right clearly affirmed under Article 51 of the UN Charter our response will be lawful and fully compliant with international law. I thank you.